Welcome to the Story-Worthy Hour of Power. My name is Christine Blackburn. We've got a fantastic show for you guys tonight. I'm so glad you're all here. This is our 22nd show in a row during COVID. We will entertain you every Sunday night. So thanks for coming around, and I do hope you come back again. Thank you in advance already. We've got an amazing show tonight, you guys. I have on 4 fantastic storytellers that are going to be sharing 10-minute stories, and then we're moving on to the game show Story Smash, and then you'll be hearing true 1-minute stories with our expert judges, Blanca Patch, Danny Zucker, Ed Crasnick's playing tonight, and also judging the game is Kevin Nealon. And I'm so excited he's on the show, you guys. I actually got an Instagram message today that said, since you follow Kevin Nealon, you may want to follow Snoop Dogg. And I don't know if that's a weeds connection. I think it might be. But then again, last week, Twitter recommended that I follow Piers Morgan. What gave them the impression that I'd follow that guy? Do you know what I mean? I'd have to smoke all of Snoop Dogg's weed to follow that jackass. I like the word jackass. You guys like that word, jackass? My dad used it a lot. He loved that word, jackass. He'd say, don't be a shit for brains jackass. Speaking of jackasses, our president, as you all know, has caught COVID-19. And, I couldn't believe it. Thursday night, it's almost one of those moments like, where were you? Where were you when Lincoln was shot or the Challenger exploded? Well, when I found out Trump had COVID-19, I was washing my face. I was here at the house, and my daughter, I'm not sure exactly where she heard it, but she's the one who said, Mama, Trump has COVID. And my first thought was, can you even get a spray tan in the hospital? Can you? Anyway, I hope instead of treatment of course he has to have treatment. And I'm hoping that the treatment they give him is candy corn and no water. That's what I wish upon the man. Thank you. They're saying that the Rose Garden, that speech he gave in the Rose Garden, that was the event. It was a super spreader event, and they're calling it the Rose Garden Massacre. I don't know if you guys knew this, but the first Rose Garden Massacre was Melania cutting down all of the rose bushes that Jackie Kennedy planted. Or Jackie Onassis, whichever works for you. Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey, he also tested positive for COVID. And I'm just saying, if he needs to go to the hospital, I hope he can't get over a bridge. Oh, wait. Something's coming in now. Wait, he's already in the hospital. Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's one bridge he's not going to be able to cross, COVID. Good luck, Chris. I hope they give you a Happy Meal in the hospital. I tell you, though, they're saying, Trump is ill, and I think it might be the perfect excuse for him not to debate anymore. Do you know what I mean? I don't know why he would even, why would he want to debate? Because the last debate, he did so well, didn't he? It was like watching a train wreck in my living room with Trump's caboose wider than the lectern. Thank you. I'm sure you heard him calling everyone names during the debate. There's Crazy Nancy and Sleepy Joe. So you see, kids aren't in school right now, but they can still experience the bullying. My daughter, by the way, she's been homeschooled, of course. And the other day, I gave her extra credit for a hand massage and an arm massage. You got to think outside the box, homeschooling parents. Oh, one more thing. Carol Baskin, everybody's favorite tiger wrangler and dancer. She was finally kicked off of Dancing with the Stars the other night. She had a catastrophic night. Good night. Drive safely. Try the veal. All right, you guys, look, we're going to have, I sound like Biden. Look, America. We are going to have a lot of fun tonight and hopefully take your mind off of the crazy world we're living in right now. And we've got 4 storytellers coming up that I know you're going to love. I'm also going to tell a story. And then at 7 o'clock, Blanca Patch is here with Danny Zucker to play some Story Smash. So make sure you stick around because every week it gets funnier and funnier. And if you want to play Story Smash, let me know in the chat box and we'll get you on stage as well, hopefully, if time allows. All right, you guys, let's get the show rolling right now. The first person on stage, I've been friends with him for a long time, and he's just such a talent. He is a stand-up comedian and a writer and a performer. He's also co-host of the podcast Mental Health Comedy with Ed Crasnick and Jennifer Caleri, where comics and entertainers practice mental health skills. And I've been on the show, and it really is interesting because it's very funny, but then you learn something. Who knew? Oh, also, Ed Crasnick and I, we were both born on January 7th. How about that? All right, you guys, wherever you are, please put your hands together for my friend, Ed Crasnick.
More excited about than anything. It's so great to see you. And, you know, I'm going to go back. I'm going to tell a story really about another time. This is a time where, when I grew up, we had a summer cottage that was 2 houses away from the Atlantic Ocean, between Boston and Cape Cod. And it was a house that had a big wraparound porch. It was a house where everybody sort of showed up. And even though the house was 2 houses away from the ocean, it took us half the day to get there and half the day to get back. Why? We took everything in the house. We took tables, we took chairs, we took the Davenport couch and a hassock. We took the Twin Towers of Dieting, big bottle of Tab, big bottle of Fresca, and the ceramic pig with Sweet and Low coming out of its ass. We took everything in the house. We were like Jews on our way to Ellis Island. I put a kerchief on, I took a kerchief off. Didn't know where I was then, have no idea now. And right down into the ocean, a sea of brightly colored blankets and all the old beach smells. A beautiful bouquet of solar cane, sea and ski, and prel filled the air. And by the ocean side, old men with their bathing suits pulled up to their larynx. Like German expressionistic paintings about to explode, their penises were here, their balls were there. Listening to the transistor radio, goddamn Red Sox, why can't they win a game? Yeah. Right into the ocean. I was the happiest kid in the world for 3 seconds, and then my mom would come to the water's edge. Come on in. You're out way too far. You're making me nervous, and if I'm nervous, everybody's nervous. Come on. You're going to be in therapy your whole life. Come on. And I'd just be out there waving. Can't hear you. Cannot hear you. God, I love the ocean. I love those times. And they were different times than now. You know, it was very interesting because of the summer town, and I'll wrap it up with this, but this summer town was particular because it had an old amusement park. And my uncle owned a ride there. It was a ride called the Rotor. I don't know if you remember this ride, but it was a ride that would go around and around and around, around, floor drops out. And that's when you'd stick to the wall. And that's when you'd throw up. And that's when my uncle would take your picture for his throw up gallery. He was a marketing genius. And then we play skee ball. You remember skee ball? You roll the ball up the lane, then you get those tickets that you could redeem for valuable prizes at the skee ball boutique. One summer, I spent $300 trying to win a comb for my parents. But how can you put a price on pride at that age? And we had an old movie theater there, 50-cent rainy day matinees for kids. I sound like I'm talking about the 1800s, and I am. We had the Don Knotts film retrospective, The Ghost of Mr. Chicken, Reluctant Astronaut, Incredible Mr. Limpet. To kids, Don Knotts was an acting genius. He was the fish. And I loved the movies. And when the lights went down, the feelings came up. The smells, the old smell of salt air, popcorn, gum all over the floor, rain on a tin roof. These are my memories. And I'm going back to them now because I can't stand what's happening. But we're going to overcome, or as I like to say, with my hairline, we shall overcome. Thank you. Christine, I look like somebody from Bachman Turner Overcomb.
That was hilarious. Ed, you're so funny. I love you to death. That was not 10 minutes, by the way.
Was that even 4 minutes?
It's okay, because my story's going to go long and other stories are going to go long. And we're going to see you back on Story Smash, because you've been a judge before on the show and you really do give some extra good insight to the contestants.
Well, I'm judging myself constantly, even now.
All right, you guys. The next person coming to the stage. Wow, what a talent. This girl was recognized as the world's best female impersonator when she won $5,000 in the Howard Stern Impressions Contest, and she still makes appearances on Stern today. Her voice was also used as Princess Leia in the Disney cartoon Star Wars Resistance, and she's got credits that go just as long as you can imagine. She's got so much talent, and it's just her credits. It's too long for the Hour of Power. You know what I'm saying? It would have to be the Hours of Powers. That's the only way I could go through her credits. You guys are going to love her. Please put your hands together for my friend Rachel Butera. Hi, Rach.
You could have done my credits for 6 minutes since his story only went for 4 minutes, but never mind. That's neither here nor there. All right, so now I have to go long. I went to junior high every day in a catatonic state of fear. I went to school with the ultimate mean girls. You know that movie? Everyone knows it. Forget those girls. I went to school with the mean girls. It was an Italian neighborhood. So either they were like daughters of cops or daughters of mafia probably, or both. And they were like girls I've never seen before once I got to junior high. My introduction to them was they were all at the park one night wearing these skin-tight jeans with zippers that started at the top where a normal zipper does and went down through the crotch and up the ass. And they were all 12 years old. And I was looking at them in, awe and envy. And they were talking about their older boyfriends. They were like throwing themselves against the house and just going like, oh my God, I did this for Vinny last night. He loved it. And I was just like, my mind was being blown apart. I had like one child's eye on the cheerleaders because I just wanted to be a cheerleader, and like one eye on the sexualized teenage girls. And they were horrible, right? They were constantly threatening to beat people up. I sort of was friends with them, some of them, but then there were other ones who wanted to beat me up for no reason. There was this one girl who came up to me in the hall one day and cornered me with her friend and said, you just have a face I want to punch. And I'm like, why? And she's like, I don't know, maybe it's the way you do your makeup. So, I always had cat eyes. I don't know, maybe that was it. But these girls were awful. They terrorized the school. There was them, and then there was another subset of girls from the South End who were these even tougher girls and like more ragged, and they were like kind of animals, they weren't the sexualized ones. They just wanted to like beat everybody up and threaten everybody. So they threatened me constantly. It was always like, I'm going to kick your ass after school at the South entrance, or I'm going to kick your ass if I see you walking down Berkeley Ave home alone one day. And they would come up to me in the hallway with my best friend, Caroline, who was like the beautiful, skinny little girl. And they hated her even more because all their boyfriends liked her. And she would sometimes like make out with them. So they really had it in for her. And they were constantly threatening her, and they were constantly threatening me. Even the older girls were threatening me. Like the girls 2-3 years older than me, we would all have study together, group study, all different ages. And they would like sit on their boyfriends' laps and just give me the death stare, like from across the cafeteria, and intimidate the shit out of me. I always weighed this much, and I was scared shitless of all of them. My mother would drive me to school, and I'd sit in the front seat like this. And she'd go, what is the matter with you? Nothing. Why do you look like that? I just don't want to go to school. I was so scared. I was terrified every day. And my school was this huge old building, like maybe Art Deco building with like catacombs and different hallways and like many, many different entrances and private secret entrances. So I would plan my escape out of school every day to not get my ass kicked by Gina or Carolyn or Denise or Donna or Stacy. Now, Stacy was the baddest of the bad because she had the bad family. I don't know if every town has a bad family, but we had an entire family that the whole town was scared of. The rumors, the myth, the urban legend was, one day a friend of ours whose father was a cop had to go to their house on a call and arrest the brother, one of the brothers or something. And the entire family came out with baseball bats and beat this guy and put him in the hospital. I don't know if it's true to this day, but that was always the urban myth. So people around town were scared shit of this family, and there were 11 of them. I think there were 11 brothers and sisters, all different ages. I had an older brother. There was one his age. I had an older than him sister. There was one his age. There was one little ones and a little bit older than me. And then there was Stacy, who was in my grade and terrorized me. Stacy weighed maybe 55 pounds, and I was like 145. And I was scared shit of her. If I knew she was going to be at a party, I wouldn't go. If I knew she was hanging out at Pulaski Park, I would like stand back and ask, is she in there? Is she in there? Just scared for no reason, because every once in a while she'd throw a threat my way, tell me she was going to kick my fat ass, smack my fat face, gonna fucking kill me after school. She never did it, but I was terrified, and I told my parents nothing, so they didn't know what to do. They didn't know. So she would also alternately follow me home on some days and want to be my friend and sit on the steps and ask if she could come inside and have dinner. It was very confusing. She was a lost soul, obviously. Well, one day I was walking home from South up Newark Avenue with my best friend Caroline, and we start hearing this noise behind us, this like thump, really heavy thump. We turn around and look, and Stacy is lobbing loose bricks from someone's house at my head with her taller, older friend, Elaine, who was also a really bad girl. She's throwing bricks at my head. I continue walking swiftly, ignoring her. She's shouting at me, fat fuck, fatso, gonna kill you, ugly, all the things. We're walking faster, Caroline, let's just walk faster. We keep walking. The bricks keep coming. She doesn't connect. We keep walking faster. Just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. Just ignore. I'm shitting my pants now. Everybody used to say, just sit on her. You could kill her. I didn't believe them. I was terrified. So we get to the top of Newark Ave, and she can't take it anymore. My silence is killing her. She runs up to me. She charges at me. She pushes me. I go flying backwards. She pushes me a couple more times. Caroline, who weighs like 30 pounds, is standing there in fear. Elaine is just watching. Stacy is like pushing me around, calling me names. And then finally, she grabs the top of my hair like this and pulls it down so that my head is like down by my knees. And she's just yelling stuff in my face, insults, calling me fat and ugly, and telling me if I tell anybody, she's going to kill me, and this is what I get. And Elaine's backing her up. Yeah, if you forget to tell anybody, we're going to fucking kill you. And Caroline's standing there, just not hoping Elaine doesn't do anything to her. So she finally lets my head go. I do nothing. I don't defend myself. What I do is start crying hysterically, walking all the way home because I'm so mad at myself for not sticking up for myself. I didn't even try. And I'm crying hysterically. And Caroline's like, holy shit. And I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe it. Thank God she didn't punch me. The only thing bruised was like my pride and my soul. Yeah, I was so humiliated. So we sat on my porch and I cried and cried some more. We talked about it, what scumbags they are, how they all need to die, how we wish we could kill them, what I should have done. Why didn't I do this? Why did I do it? Justifying it because she had a friend there. Her friend would have jumped me too. And I was crying so hard, wailing so hard, so humiliated that I made this sound, this wailing sound. Like a, I didn't know what I was just like, I'm so mad. Ooh. And Caroline started laughing so hard. And then I started laughing so hard, and we were cracking up, dying laughing. And I'm like crying and laughing at the same time. She's like, I never heard a sound like that before in my life. It was like a whale sound. It was the sound of the deepest humiliation you could ever imagine, and like regret and the desire for revenge to kill these bitches. So I never did really personally get any revenge on them. However, I am good friends with a cop who lives in the town that they all still live in. And let's just say she's gone on a couple of calls and she knows a couple of things. And karma is indeed a bitch. Thank you.
Wow. Holy cow. Rachel Butera. That's a great story. I hate that girl.
Hate him. Hate him.
Hate her. Can you imagine? That is so scary. How old were you guys?
Junior high. So like 13, 12, 13.
See, that's funny because my daughter's 13 and you know, part of the good news about COVID is she's right here under my eye and she can't get bullied and nobody can touch her and she's not going out with boys. So
that's great. That's a beautiful thing. No,
yeah,
it was terrifying. I mean, and you're so mad that you don't fight back, but you just don't have the confidence. And if you don't tell your parents, they can't tell you what to do.
right. Oh my God. I totally agree. But Rachel, you don't think that was the kind of the break in your childhood that brought you to stand up and brought you to voiceovers, is it?
Well, no, I think it happened long before that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But usually there's something that happens that makes people go the comedian route.
I mean, I think just being made fun of and bullied in general probably by boys was
yeah.
It. Yeah.
I hate them. All right. Thanks, Rachel. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys. So remember, stick around because at 7:00, we're going to start Story Smash, the storytelling game show with Blaine Capatch, Danny Zucker, and Kevin Nealon will be here as well. And so stick around. We've got myself and a couple of other people telling stories, and then we're going to start the game show. I wanted to tell a story tonight that, well, some of you probably know that I was a flight attendant. I was a flight attendant in the 80s and 90s, like a long time ago. And I flew for 7 years. And the entire time I flew, by the way, I flew for an airline called US Air, but a lot of people called it US Scare. I flew the entire time for 7 years with no schedule, right? I had a beeper that I had to carry with me everywhere I went. Now, kids, a beeper was something that you carried and people could contact you. You'd feel this beeping sound, or you'd hear a beeping sound or feel a vibration. You'd look down, so-and-so is trying to contact me, and then you'd find the phone and you'd call them back. So when I was a flight attendant, 1 minute could be going to the movie theater, and then the next minute, my beeper goes off and I have to find a payphone. A payphone, kids, is a machine that was on the wall and you'd put a dime in or a quarter to get a dial tone. Anyway, I'd have to find the payphone. I'd call scheduling and they'd say, "Oh no, Miss Blackburn, you're not going to see Pretty Woman. You're going to Cleveland, that city known as the Mistake on the Lake." So or it could work out in the reverse too. I could be on my way to a baby shower I didn't want to go to, and then I'd call scheduling and they'd say, "Oh no, you're on your way to Buffalo." So I always had to be within 1 hour of the airport, ready to go on a trip at any time. So one Sunday afternoon, my friends invite me to go see the Pittsburgh Steelers play the Cleveland Browns in Three Rivers Stadium. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns were huge rivals. And of course, I'm from Pittsburgh. And so growing up, it was all about football. My father would sit on the edge of the couch with a slipper in his hand, ready to throw it at the near perfect quarterback, Terry Bradshaw, if he made an interception. My dad would take that slipper and he'd say, "You idiot, Bradshaw!" Thwack! And he'd throw the slipper at the screen. Or if Terry Bradshaw threw yet another Hail Mary pass, my father would toss a slipper in the air. "Attaway, Terry." So the game is at 1:00 and I'm on duty with the airline until 3:00. But scheduling usually didn't call within that short 2-hour window. So I went to the game with my friends. We're in the parking lot, tailgating, kicking back Iron City beer. And the next thing you know, we're in the stadium, and it is a glorious day in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Bubby Brister is our quarterback, and he throws a long pass all the way down the field, and my friend passes me another beer. We're having a great time. The offensive line looks good, and the steel curtain defense looks even better. And then all of a sudden, beep, beep, beep. Kids, that's the sound that a beeper used to make. My beeper went off. But look, don't worry, because I have a plan. Okay, I've already thought about this. I just need a place in Three Rivers Stadium to call back scheduling, a place that's quiet. So I take the escalators down to the bottom of Three Rivers Stadium, into the bowels of the stadium. And when I get to the final escalator and I get all the way down to the bottom, there's nobody around. Perfect. And then I see a payphone sent from God on the wall. And so I run over to it and I call scheduling. Yeah, this is Christine Blackburn, employee 38460. My beeper just went off. And I have like a cold. It's really bad. I can't fly. I know, it's going around. And then all of a sudden, this guy with half his face painted black and half his face painted gold starts running straight toward me. And he grabs the receiver and he screams into the phone with his sweaty face pressed up to mine. "Oh, Steeler! The Browns suck!" Hello? Hello? Miss Blackburn, you have 1 hour to get to the airport. And so I told my friends I have to go. And I ran through the parking lot of Three Rivers Stadium till I got to my car, which always had my suitcase packed and my uniform ready to go. And now I'm sitting in the front seat of my Nissan Pulsar, the one with the T-tops. And I'm pulling on these pantyhose, right? And you have to find the seam. So I'm jumping around and I pull the pantyhose up, and then I have to pull on the itchy wool scratchy skirt. And then I take off my sweatshirt and I put on the scratchy polyester blouse and I button it all the way up. I check my look in the mirror to make sure my hair and my makeup is fine. And then I do the final touch. I pin on my wings because I am a safety professional. And next, I drive as fast as I can to get to the Pittsburgh International Airport. And I fly through security. I park my car, get through security. I fly all the way down the jetway, and I get on the plane with 2 minutes to spare. Now, the passengers are already boarded, of course. And as I'm putting my suitcase in the overhead compartment, I can feel their eyes on me like daggers. Oh, they think I'm the reason why they're late. No, I want to say to them, hey, folks, no, look, I'm not the reason why you're late. You're late because another flight attendant called in sick. Yeah, just an hour ago, I was in Three Rivers Stadium watching the Steelers play the Browns, and now I'm here in uniform, and I'm on time. So a little credit, a little gratitude. But of course, I don't say that. I say, "Welcome aboard. Hi, how are you? Welcome aboard. Nice to see you. Hello." The pilot says, "Flight attendants, take your seats." And I take my seat. I'm flying in the C position, which on this airplane is in the front of the plane. And my back is up against the cockpit. And I'm looking straight down the aisle at the passengers who are still looking at me like they want to kill me. The plane starts taking off down the runway. We pick up the speed, and I hear behind me the pilots pull full throttle, and I feel them lift up the airplane, and we take off. But within moments, I hear a loud bang. And my first thought is, holy shit, we blew out an engine. And my next thought was, just an hour ago, I was in Three Rivers Stadium watching the Steelers play the Browns, and now I'm going to have to be in an airplane accident with this bunch of people taking them to Orlando? The next jolt brought me to reality. I look at the people down the aisle, and their dagger eyes have turned to puppy eyes. What do you know? I wipe the sweat off my upper lip, and I take the phone behind my head. I call the cockpit. But they don't answer. The flight attendant beside me, she's looking through her emergency manual like she's going through IKEA instructions. The other flight attendants in the back of the plane, the B and the D flight attendant, they're not coming forward. Nobody is taking charge of this goddamn plane. So like the Bubby Brister of this Boeing 737, I get out of my jump seat, I pull down my jacket, I straighten my wings, and I go back to the passengers. Hey, everybody. Look, so we lost an engine. Oops, maybe they didn't know that. Hey, folks, listen, really, we're going to be fine, okay? Because this airplane has 3 engines, and we can easily fly on 2. They're not buying it. You guys, I've been flying for a long time, and this is a Boeing, and I always say, if it's not Boeing, I'm not going. They're not buying it. Finally, thankfully, the captain comes on the PA. Well, folks, looks like we lost the number 2 engine. We're going to go ahead and fly around until the fire trucks appear, and then we'll attempt the landing. You see, folks, we're just going to fly around until we see the fire trucks appear, and then we'll attempt the landing. And then I'm looking out the window, and everybody else is looking out the window too, and we see fire trucks arriving, and we see bits of metal or something is flying out of the number 2 engine, and it looks like fairy dust. Boeing 737 fairy dust. So finally, I don't know what else to say to the passengers. I'm just scrambling. I say, you know, you guys are all going to get free drink coupons. Really? You're going to get a drink coupon, and you're going to get a drink coupon, and you're all going to get drink coupons. The captain finally came back on the PA, and he said, flight attendants, take your seat. And I went back to the front of the plane. I sat in my jump seat, and I'm looking down the aisle, and the passengers are looking back at me, but some of them are crying, and I think we've bonded. That's what I think. A couple of minutes later, we landed safely, and the passengers erupt in applause, and I applaud too, because I think I did something right. And I say, goodbye. I'm so sorry about this emergency situation. Thanks for flying with us. You will get that drink coupon. The next thing you know, my beeper goes off again, and I call scheduling in the airport, and they tell me that I'm off for the day. Thank goodness. And as I'm dragging my suitcase back through the airport, this suitcase that I have carried 1,000 times has never felt heavier. And just as I feel like I can't walk one more step in my stupid Navy pumps, I stop and I look up and I realize I'm standing in the perfect place. I'm standing in front of a Friday's sports bar. And inside on the big screen TV, Bubby Brister and the Pittsburgh Steelers are still playing football. So what did I do? I took off my double-breasted blazer. I unbuttoned my itchy polyester blouse. I ordered an Iron City beer, and I finished watching the Steelers beat the Browns. And guess what? That guy was right. The Browns suck. We won 28-3. Thank you. Thank you. I hear your applause. I hear the applause from here. What a treat. That's so nice. Thank you, guys. Here's my information in the chat room. Join my mailing list. Follow me on Twitter. Come on, you guys. Let's have some fun. Okay, 2 more storytellers left, and then we're going to begin the game show. Now, this talent coming up right now, you guys, she was studying acting by the age of 11, and she was training at Chicago's famous Second City by the age of 15. Now, some of her TV credits as a comedian include ABC's Comic Unleashed, Comedy Central's Tough Crowd, and BET's Comic View. She's performed in many comedy festivals all over the world, and she's currently working on a TV pilot based on her life called Unprepared for Life, an almost true story, except for the good parts that had to be made up. Those had to be made up. She's also my tennis buddy. Please put your hands together wherever you are for my friend Cynthia Levin. Cynthia!
Hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody. This is the first time I'm doing a show on my couch. sitting on it. I usually stand in front of it or somewhere else in my giant studio apartment. Don't be jealous. I get it. I get it. Calm down, everybody. This was the sock that was blocking my face. Okay, and we're back. Okay, so I'm a Jew, and I always have to start. That's how I start all of my relationships. I tell them that, and then we go from there. We see what happens, whatever the decisions are made. I'm gonna pull this towards me. So anyway, I grew up Jewish in Chicago, and we were conservative, which meant we kept all the holidays. We kept kosher in the house, but not outside. That way, in case the real, because then we get to go out for dinner, right, and have a nice life. And if the real Jews came over, we would impress them. So, that's how you do it. So it was a very strict, I went to Hebrew school like 5 days a week, Sunday school, Saturday school, never enough. I learned absolutely nothing because all I did was eat the entire time. That's right. I munched on shit and made fun of people. So, I was very busy. So anyway, but all was well, right? And then I moved to Los Angeles in initially 87 and then again in 89. And I was trying to stay away, and I was forced back by the Lord and divine intervention, folks. When they see you screwing up, they step in. That's what happened to me. I heard a voice one day, and he said, move back to LA. I went, fuck, I was enjoying drinking in New York. But anyway, so I moved back to LA, and I was totally miserable. Miserable. And I realized like the last time I had been happy was when I was unconscious, which basically means before I realized how sickening my childhood was. It kind of creeps up on you, and you go, oh, I get it now. So anyway, so I was living in LA for a long time, and I was miserable. I said that, right? And one day I was so miserable, I'm saying like after 11 years, and every day. And I was so miserable, and I went to the Comedy Store where I was performing, and I was crying in the parking lot, because that's what you do as a comedian. You cry in the parking lot, and then you go perform. And so I was crying in the parking lot, and I just get surrounded by like a gaggle of Christian female comics. Yes, there are several of those. And they started to surround this Jewish head of mine and pray over me. And I was like, I don't have anybody. I never had anybody. I don't have any family. I'm really miserable. Like, whatever. And so then they were like, they were like, misery, let's go grab it. So they started to pray over me. And they were like, Lord, and they put their hands over my head, and they were like, Lord, help Cynthia, Lord, lift Cynthia up, Lord, bring money to Cynthia, Lord, whatever. And then one of the girls go, I'm crying, I'm like, and it felt great. And then, one of the girls says, hey, do you want to go to church with us on Sunday? They're giving money away to a friend. It's Friend's Day, and they're giving money away to a friend. And do you want to come with us? They might pick your name. And I was like, okay. And, and that's how you get a Jew to go to Jesus. You offer them $500. Anyway, so I went to the church with them on Sunday. And, being a miserable Jew that I was, I stood in the back row and basically watched everybody in front of me have a great life. I mean, meaning that they were interested, they had feelings about something. They were like, they were doing this whole thing, and that Christian music. There was a band there, blonde people jumping up and down for the Lord with like sparkle eyeshadow and sparkles on their pants, and they were really happy, singing really horrible music. And I thought, by God, you've got to be saved to enjoy this shit, Anyway, so I'm in the back and I'm making fun of them. I'm like, this is fucking nuts. Like, what does it take for somebody to be like, like, what does it take, And the next thing you know, I'm like, right? And I couldn't help it. And so then after the service, or before it was actually over, but the singing was over, and all of a sudden my friend comes up to me, one of the friends that brought me there, and she said, hey, Cynthia. It's actually my friend Lemaire. She's a lovely gal, comedian, and she always had, she's got like very large boobs, and always wore a cross in between them, and everything was out. And it's a very, very liberal church. Anyway, so I go to the front, right? And little did I know that going to the front meant taking Jesus as my savior. So I took Jesus as my savior. People were like praying over me and like rubbing my back, and I thought, oh my God, nobody's even trying to get anything from me. They're just, oh my God, this is wonderful, you know. And the next thing you know, I'm saved. I'm fucking saved. Like, bam, you know. And the next thing you know, I'm like reading the Bible, and I'm obsessed, and I'm going to church twice a week, and you know, and I'm seeing healers, and I'm watching people getting healed left and right, except for this one Jewish woman who was like, oh no, I've got a bad neck, and then now it's in my left, yeah, no, it's moving around. Didn't matter what the guy did. He was like, you know, all right, not everybody gets saved on a Thursday, this poor bitch, but everybody else, you know, yeah, I've got a bad knee, healed, and they're like, oh right, this feels fantastic. You know, anyways, it was a really amazing experience. I couldn't wait for my healing. Anyway, so I did this for a while, and so during all of this, my mother comes to town for a Hadassah convention. And if you don't know what a Hadassah is, it's a Jewish women's group that raises money for Israel, supposedly. I mean, we had the meetings at our house, and really all they did was eat. Any old business? All right. Any new? All right, enough. Let's eat. I'm starving. You know, whatever. And that was pretty much that's a Hadassah meeting. So anyway, so I go. My mom's there, and I have to go because I have to ask her for money because Jesus wasn't really throwing it at me. As it turned out, I was more broke after I met Jesus than I was before. After all the fucking 10% I was giving of everything I didn't actually make. Do you see what I'm saying? It was, yeah, tithing. Thanks for that. Appreciate it, motherfuckers. Excuse my language. How dare you? Anyway, we're back. So anyway, so my mom's in town, and I go to this Hadassah, and Lemaire comes with me because we're pals. And we go to the Hadassah convention, and this is true. There's a room. 1,000 Jewish women are in this room. 1,000 Jewish women are in this room, and there's a klezmer band, which is the Jewish music, you know, like this, very lively, it's the most animated you'll ever see a Jewish person, aside from when they're eating. How rude! How dare you? Really? Okay. Anyway, it's true. So anyway, so my mom's sitting at a table of 10 women, and they're all, you know, I sit down, and I hadn't seen my mom in a while because, you know, I had a really good childhood, and I sit down, and my mother goes, "This is Cynthia." They're like, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you since, oh my," you know, but it was like that kind of scene, and I was like, I'm here for a business transaction. I'm like, listen, in the middle of this, and you know, whatever, and I'm like, hey, my mom, I need to, I need to borrow some money, and you know, whatever. I said, but no, first this is what I told her. I said, Mom, I just want to tell you that I'm a born again Christian, right? This is the middle of, and she goes, all right. And then I go, I need to borrow some money. And she's like, how much? And I go, $1,000. And she goes, and I go, and she's like, all right. And then she goes into her wallet, and she's getting out her checkbook. And while she's writing the check, I go, I just want, you know, to make her feel better about giving me $1,000, you know. I go, you know, they say that when you give a Christian money, you get it back tenfold. She goes, Cynthia, I hope you're not trying to convert me. I was like, oh, no, of course not. Of course, I'm just telling you what I learned. I think it's very interesting, you know. She goes, good, because I'm not a believer. In God? Of course not. Hmm? Well, wait a minute. I don't know. Sometimes so many things happen to some, good things happen to some people that you just have to wonder if there isn't somebody up there doing something. After my whole Jewish life, I don't know if you guys know, but you know, the whole thing about being Jewish is if you're not suffering, you're not practicing. So, after all that practicing, you're not sure? Of course not. That's right. Thanks, everybody. C'est moi.
Wow, Cynthia Levin, you're the best. That was really extraordinary. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you, Christine.
So would you say you were a Christian then, like for what, minute and a half or?
3 months, which is about as long as all my relationships last.
You and Jesus, same thing, huh? You crack me up. Right. Cynthia, because you're playing Story Smash in about 15 minutes. Can't wait. And we've got one more talent on the show tonight. I'm so happy he's here, you guys. He really needs no introduction, but of course, I want stage time, so I'm going to give him one. All right, you guys, you know him from Saturday Night Live, Weeds, and lots of films like The Wedding Singer, Happy Gilmore. Plus, you'll hear his voice on Family Guy. And he also has a fabulous show called Hiking with Kevin. I don't know if he's doing it right now, because if he was, it might be more like Catching COVID with Kevin. That would be catchy. But he does do the show called Hiking with Kevin, and it's really great. Basically, he hikes with his friends like Dana Carvey or Tiffany Haddish, and they chat. That's it. That's the show. I want that show because I actually do hike, Kevin, not just like the girls who put it on the profile. Anyway, you guys, Kevin is also a fabulous artist, and you've got to check out his beautiful, beautiful work on Instagram. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, guys, wherever you are, please put your hands together for the very talented Kevin Nealon. Kevin!
Look at that. Can you hear me? Hi, everybody. I don't know. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if anybody can hear me. Christine?
We hear you, man. We hear you, Kevin. We hear you. You got it.
You. Man. Anyway, thank you for that great introduction. And thank you for this platform. I've always wanted a platform to tell a story on. So here's my story. And I've waited a long time to tell this story because of the people that are involved in it. I wanted to make sure that they weren't around anymore. So what happened was when I first got into stand-up comedy, I used to pretty much live at the Improv in Hollywood on Melrose. And I got to know a lot of people there. A lot of interesting people would come into the Improv and hang out. And I mean, I've seen everybody there from, Roy Scheidner to Bob Fosse, people that just would come in and hang out. And Joey Ross, who was a character actor, he was on a show called Car 54. And his catchphrase was, ooh, 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 ooh. And he would smoke a cigar. He always had a cigar. He played a cop on Car 54. And he used to come into the Improv, and we became kind of buddies. And occasionally we would get on stage together and pretend like we did vaudeville at one point. And we used to be a comedy team. And out at the bar, he would kind of give acting lessons. He goes, he'd be smoking. All you got to do is just react, just like we're having a conversation now. That's all you got to do to act. And anyway, he was a nice guy. He's a sweet guy. But he took a liking to me. And he was about 70. And one day I came into the Improv, and he came up to me. He goes, ooh, I might have a job for you. I said, what is it, Joe? He goes, well, I'll let you know. What do you get paid in the club? It's about $25 for a set? I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, it'll pay about $25. I said, okay. So like, I'm really curious now what it is. What's this job he's talking about? And then he goes, I'll tell you what it is. I married Trudy. I said, yeah. And Trudy was his new wife. And she was a lot younger than him, probably in her 30s. I hope she's not watching this now. And he said, and by the way, Trudy was an ex-prostitute from Dallas who had her eye shot out by a pimp in Dallas. And she wore these dark rose-colored sunglasses. And she always she had high shoulders like that, hunched over. And she had this pasty white skin, like she had been floating in a pond of water for like 2 weeks before they discovered her body. It's like you could touch her skin and it would come off on your fingers. That's what we're talking. And I don't even know what her name was. I think it was Trudy. But let's just say I changed it. And so Joey says to me, he goes, I married Trudy. and I'm 70, and she's, she wants to have a baby. And you're a good-looking guy. You come from a good family. You got a good sense of humor. You're smart. I'll pay you $25. You go up to her, to the bedroom with her, and because I'm 70, I can't. And she'll give you a good time too. She'll give you a real good time. I was waiting for him to go, I'm kidding. But he didn't. And it was really awkward. And I said, Joey, let me think about this. Let me think about this one. So I went home and I couldn't stop thinking about it. And the next day I go in there to the Improv on Melrose, and I'm hanging out, and he sees me. And I know, this must have been something his wife, said, you got to find somebody. And yeah, Kevin's fine. Yeah, let's use Kevin. And his wife is probably pushing him too to get an answer. So he comes right over to me. He goes, what do you think about Trudy? And I said, I got to be honest with you, Joey. 30 I could see, but 25, it's because I got, agents got 10%. Manager gets 10%. By the time I come downstairs, I'm, walking away with like $9. Taxes, tip, I got a tipper probably. And so, but I actually, what I told him was, I said, I'm first of all, I'm very flattered that you would consider me. And, but I just can't take that on right now. I can't. So basically what I was telling him was, Joey, you cannot pay me to have sex with your wife. But anyway, never did it. I don't know if anybody ever did. But Joey Ross, God bless his heart, he died on stage. I think it was at the Oakwood Apartments on Barham. They have a little theater there or something. And he had a heart attack on stage. And yeah, I did hook up with his wife for a while after that. But no babies. The end.
That was so funny. Did you really hook up with his wife?
Oh, no.
I was going to say, you're crazy, man. That was a great story. Kevin, is that guy still around?
No, he had a heart attack. He died.
Okay, he's gone. Oh, God.
But I remember he used to he smoked the cigars, and as he was talking, he'd be spitting tobacco from the cigar.
Yeah. Like you see people when they pick it out of their teeth, they kind of pill it out of their teeth.
Well, the worst is like people that chew tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
They spit it in the cup. I can't think of anything more disgusting. I'd rather see somebody pee in a cup and put it on the counter. Okay,
so my brother used to chew tobacco. Luckily, he does not anymore because it's obviously very bad for you. That was my cat, not an earthquake. Anyway, my brother and his buddy, they both used to chew tobacco. And we lived up in Grand Lake, Colorado, a really remote town. And they would make me hold their chew cup in between them at the theater while they both spit. Disgusting. Hey, Kevin,
I hope you got something out of the deal.
What state are you in right now? Are you in Tennessee?
Hang on, let me take a look. This is Los Angeles.
Oh, you're home. I'm so glad. So glad.
But this is Tennessee. This is my little screensaver here.
Let's see.
This is Tennessee right here.
Oh, that's sweet. Who lives there? One of your siblings or something?
I have a friend that lives down there.
Yeah. Because
I have a lot of friends. My in-laws live in Nashville.
Yeah.
And my brother lives in Atlanta, about 4 hours from there.
And the guitar on the porch there in Nashville, is that your guitar?
This is actually a banjo.
Oh, right on. Yeah, man. Do you really have it? You lie. That's
a virtual background.
Yeah, I know. I got that. But I thought maybe it still in the room with you because you take it with you, don't you?
I do have a lot of instruments. They're all hanging on the wall here. There's banjos and guitars and mandolins and ukuleles. And I'm not good at any of them. Christine, I do a lot of stuff, but I'm not good at any of it. I'm okay at a lot of it, but I'm not really good at stuff.
Well, I disagree because I can't get over your artwork. Now, you just did that one for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Can you tell me what medium are you using exactly?
I do, it's digital art. I have a Wacom.
You
This is one that I'm working on right now that I just finished. I'll probably post this week.
Oh my gosh, Christopher Walken, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with the.
Okay, so wait, how do you do this? Tell me, really.
I was in LAX about 2 years ago, and I was looking through my Instagram. I follow a lot of artists because I like caricature art.
Yeah.
And I saw that this guy was giving lessons in England via Skype. And I liked his artwork. I liked his style. So I connected with him and I took art lessons with him. It was on a digital tablet. You know, you use this instead of a paintbrush.
Sure. And
you dip it into you tap the brush you want to use, and then you tap the colors, and then you do all your painting on the digital. On this is actually the thing right here.
Is it an iPad or what is that?
It's like a pad, but it connects to your computer.
Uh-huh.
And then you just draw on it, and the clock ticks by, and it's a lot of fun. It's very therapeutic for me. I'll listen to a podcast or music.
Yeah. You mean like story-worthy.
And the great thing for me to do the artwork is I don't have a deadline.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Some artist friends are always rushing to meet a deadline.
Yeah.
But they're also getting paid. So that's
now, one more question about that. Do you print them out?
I have them printed on canvas, without the frames. It's like the box canvas. And
I love that.
Hanging on my wall.
Yeah. Oh, that's a beautiful look.
Yeah. And I'm just, it's kind of like stand-up comedy. When you start, especially like doing caricatures, you have to find your style because you emulate other people when you start, just like stand-up. Mm-hmm. Until you can create your own style. And that's kind of what I'm reaching for now. I'm looking for a certain style.
Well, that's really exciting. And if that doesn't pan out, maybe you can get some work at like Magic Mountain or Universal, because they got the caricature drawings in the park.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's always something to fall back on.
There's a backup. That's right.
I can also operate the rides there.
Well, see, there's choices. That's my point. Thanks, Kevin. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap up this part of the show, and we're going to hand it over to Blanket Pat. She's going to start Story Smash for us while I rearrange my dining room to look like a game show studio. So one more time, you guys, wherever you are, please put your hands together for the fabulous talents you've already seen tonight. Ed Crasnick, Rachel Butera, Cynthia Levin. We'll see you for tennis this week, sister. And the fabulous Kevin Nealon. My name is Christine Blackburn. Good night.
Thanks for joining us on the Storyworthy podcast. We'll be back next week with all new stories. Subscribe to Storyworthy on iTunes and visit the Storyworthy website at storyworthypodcast.com.